what is a staking ladder? Well, basically this mimics a real CD ladder, which is a strategy used in the real world where essentially you don't just stake everything in Hex all in one stake. You don't just lock up all your coins for a single day. You make several stakes along the way, right? So you choose a time horizon of, let's say, 5 years, and you stake at various intervals in multiple time frames. So what this really does is it gives you the flexibility to choose time periods that fit your unique lifestyle wherever you're at in life. Now, this could be months, quarters, years. You can even set stakes to expire on holidays, birthdays, life events. If you're new here, in Hex, you get to choose your own terms in terms of the number of days that you want to lock up your money. And remember, locking up and staking is really just the same thing. So when I say locking or staking, I'm talking about the same thing. Now, I don't ever really recommend going lower than months in terms of your stakes, because if you're only staking for a couple of days or even a couple of weeks, you're not going to see the outsized returns that a lot of the OG hexagons are seeing, right? The real returns come with delayed gratification, because not only do you get a crazy amount of compounding interest over time, but you get any price appreciation along the way. So that's why when it comes to staking, personally, I really prefer and recommend months, quarters, years, and you can even have fun with it. And let's say you want to make some stakes expiring on Christmas, every Christmas for the next 10 years, or every one of your kids' birthdays. Or if you're saving up for, a wedding ring or that big vacation or that new car, you can set dates in your mind and actually put your money to work while you're waiting for that date to arrive. So it's really cool. Now, the premise of the staking ladder system is really simple. It's essentially that when you stake, that's your principal balance, right? That's your principal amount. So if I stake 1,000 Hex, my principal is 1,000. And when I unstake my Hex, I'll have all the principal plus some amount of interest, right? And really the concept is so simple. It's just you sell the interest that you made and you restake the principal out into the future again, so that you never really give away your precious Hex, because your Hex has the ability to make more money for you. Why would you want to give away what's essentially your money printing machine, right? Now, a staking ladder ensures that on every time interval that you set, let's say it's biannually, so every 6 months, it ensures that you always have some money coming out. So you're always able to scrape the interest off the top, sell the interest, and then restake the principal a long ways away in the future. And we'll talk about why it's good to stake longer and instead of shorter, okay? But again, the profit that you make when your stake is over is not only equal to the principal plus the interest, right? But it's actually equal to any price appreciation in US dollar value along the way. I mean, let's not beat around the bush, guys. The USD price appreciation, or GBP, or whatever currency is in your jurisdiction, is really what we're after here. So yeah, Hex is great. We would love Hex to be mainstream and adopted worldwide. But eventually, if we want to cash out, we need to cash out in our country's currency, right? So the profit that you make is, again, the principal, the interest, and the price appreciation, because as we know, cryptocurrencies are the highest appreciating asset class known to mankind. Not only the highest appreciating asset, but the fastest appreciating asset too. Bitcoin went from a penny to $50,000 in 10 years. You're not going to find returns like that in the traditional system anywhere. And Hex is less than 2 years old right now. So, imagine buying Bitcoin when it was less than 2 years old, right? Anyway, moving forward, like I mentioned earlier, I really prefer and recommend this as a months and years game. Months and years are way better than days and weeks. And that's because in Hex, longer pays better. And when we talk about the longer pays better bonus, that literally means every additional period of time, every additional day that you stake, you're getting a bonus for that. And you're actually getting a higher interest rate for locking in a longer number of days. Now, here's a chart of what it might look like if you're staked out from years 1 to 15. So the timeline on the bottom is years 1 through 15. And let's say you made 15 separate stakes. Those are represented by the purple and pink rectangles, right? The purple and pink bars are, let's say, your even number stake. So let's say that's 1,000 Hex staked out for every year from years 1 through 15. Well, like I mentioned earlier, because longer pays better, which we'll do an example of that in a minute, but because longer pays better, every additional year that you stake, that stake that is staked out for 5 years is making a lot more interest than the stake that's only been staked for 1 year. And that's represented by the green bar. So the green bar can be looked at as your interest on top of your staked principal. So again, the pink and yellow is your principal, the green is your interest. Now you could see as we go way out into the future, we are earning exponentially higher amounts of interest than we were for only the 1-year stake. So our 14-year-old stakes are going to be our real money makers. But if you don't want to wait 14 years, I know I'm not that patient, right? I want money every interval of time. I don't want to just make one long stake and then be waiting 14 years for one giant payday. I want a bunch of smaller paydays along the way that will help me kind of navigate my life and help me out with passive income over the course of my life. And you can keep doing this as long as Hex is alive, which it's designed to last well after we're dead. So let's say you got to the end of year 1, right? You waited your first year and you finally reached your due date on your first stake, and it's time to restake it. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take that green interest bar and we're going to cash it out, right? We're going to sell it on the open market for whatever it's worth at the time in US dollars, and then maybe run it back through Coinbase and get it back into our bank account so we can go do stuff in the real world. You know, but we can buy that car or pay off that mortgage on that house or finally start that business we've always been wanting to start. But we don't want to get rid of our entire stack, because why would you sell an income producing asset, right? Hex has the ability to make more of itself because it inflates to pay stakers. It inflates at a constant fixed rate of 3.69% every year to pay the staking class. So given that mechanism, why would I want to get rid of my principal? Instead, what I'd want to do is launch that principal all the way back out in as long of a stake as I can make. Because remember, those long stakes are what really generates the high interest rates. So what I would do is I would take that principal and I would put it all the way into 15 years from now. That's 5,555 days. That's the maximum length that you can stake anything in Hex. And it's just over 15 years roughly. But the reason that we do 5,555 day stakes is because we all know that those pay the highest interest. But the reason that we don't only do 5,555 stakes is because we all don't want to wait 15 years to realize any gains, right? So once you have this structure set up, you're able to launch it every year into the deep, deep future, because you know that in the near-term time horizon too, you've got more stakes coming out. It's a pretty great system, and you can keep doing this, again, as long as Hex is alive, which is basically as long as Ethereum and as long as the internet are still alive.